Good evening and welcome to the Ghana TV9 News Bulletin for Monday, September 1, 2025. I'm Colin Neighbors. In the headlines tonight, Ghana votes in peace, high turnout, first-time electors mark smooth 2025 elections. GUNRAJ says police body cams at polls are standard practice, no threat to ballot secrecy. Jagdeo denounces opposition fear-mongering tactics. NORTON disrupts election process at several polling stations. And President Ali confident of victory at the polls, says Guyanese voted on track record of the PPP. Now for the news in depth. On Monday morning, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali cast his ballot and expressed confidence in securing a second term in office, citing that his administration's performance is the key to victory. Details in this report.
About the victory? Very much so, very much so. Very confident about the victory. We saw the campaign we ran, the numbers speak for themselves. But as I said, sealing the victory is important, and that requires all our supporters to come out and ensure that they seal the victory with their vote.
Speaking to the media after casting his ballot, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali addressed the recent shooting incident on the Cuyuni River involving Venezuelan forces and Guyanese electoral staff. The president stated that Guyana's security forces are on full alert, ready and fully equipped.
Well, first of all, it is concerning. We have had the fire from the Venezuelan side a number of times in the last couple of months. So of course it's concerning. The security forces are on full alert. They have the strength and they're ready. They have the equipment, and we have to understand the threat of Venezuela. We have been speaking about this throughout the campaign, that Venezuela is a threat, and we have to look at every single connection to that threat, and the security forces are on top of it.
President Ali expressed confidence in the security forces, noting that the GDF is in a better position than ever to handle such threats.
So the Ghana Defense Force has beefed up its not only troops, but they are in a better position. We have invested a lot, as you know, in the military. So I'm confident with what they have on our borders and the systems they have in place.
On the topic of drug trafficking, the president emphasized the need for regional cooperation.
We will support anything to eliminate any threat to our security in terms of not only our sovereignty. We view our sovereignty very seriously, but also we live in a region that all of us must come together to fight transnational crime, to fight illicit drug trade, and we will support every effort to smash the illicit drug trade and transnational crime.
He concluded that the region must retain its own peace. The Joint Services Patrol escorting Guyana Elections Commission GECOM officials and the ballot boxes along the Upper Cuyuni River came under fire from the Venezuelan side of the border Sunday afternoon. The incident, which occurred at approximately 2:30 p.m., saw the patrol, which comprised of ranks from the Joint Services, return fire and successfully maneuver the team out of danger. No one was injured and no election materials were damaged. President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, accompanied by First Lady Arya Ali, cast his ballot this morning at the Technical and Vocational Training Center in Lenora District 3. Adana Dora, Ghana TV9 News.
Presidential candidate of the APNU Aubrey Norton is once again up to his political shenanigans. On Monday, Norton disrupted the voting process at a number of polling stations across the city. Norton clashed with not only GECOM staff but also party candidates. More in this report. Leader of the opposition and presidential candidate of the Partnership for National Unity APNU, Aubrey Norton, has once again found himself at odds with polling day staff over the new polling station layout implemented by the Ghana Elections Commission, GECOM. At one polling location, Norton engaged in a confrontation with the minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, which resulted in a temporary halt in the voting process.
Hi. GECOM governs this election by law. The law says the body must be seen.
We're satisfied with it like that.
Who's we?
I'm satisfied with it like that.
I am not. My dad says the law. Hear what the law says. The law says must see the body. You don't want to see the votes. My agent must be.
Stop the process.
You can't tell me what to do.
You cannot stop the process. GECOM is running this
GECOM
election.
outlines law. And if I come anywhere and I see the violation of the law, I will say to them it's a violation, it has to stop. And
Norton subsequently engaged in a confrontation with police officers stationed at another polling site.
Everything's up on signal. The PO is comfortable with it. The PO don't have a problem with it. This is the law. And we have to work with what the PO directs.
That is not true. It is the law, not the PO. So if the PO decides that they put back the for everybody.
Wow. She's powerful, man. She's the law.
At a recent media conference, the Guyana Elections Commission made it clear that no individual or party representative is permitted to disrupt the voting process. The elections body made it clear that polling day staff are in charge of polling stations. Monday's behavior by Norton was a repeat of what transpired during the Discipline Services balloting exercise, when he entered a polling station and loudly demanded that the polling booth be relocated. Vice presidential candidate of the PUPC, Dr. Jagdeo, addressing media operatives on Monday, had this to say about the actions of the opposition leader.
GECOM addressed that matter, and we choose not to elevate it into anything major. But he should not have done that.
Colin Abrams, Guyana Tv9 News. More of the news after the break. Stay with us.
Brimstone? Like you finally getting a walk by, look how you dress up. No, officer, the I have an important message to send to the people them. See, the I just wanted to look important. Oh, sorry. Do it. Thank you, officer. Fellow Guyanese, as we approach elections 2025, let us remember that we are stronger together. Our diversity is our greatest strength, and our democracy thrives when we respect each other. No election should divide the I them. So let us choose peace over conflict, dialogue over division, and love over hate. Respect each other's choice, and let us ensure a peaceful elections for the I them. Together we can, together the I them will. Let peace lead the way. IT. Brimstone, there's a real strong message, boy. I agree with you. But hey, boy, your song a little too bright. There's a charge. Officer, please, not charge the messenger.
Unity, culture flow, harmony, that is what we know.
Together we can, and together we will. Too many possibilities to stand still. If you love who you are, and you would be a part of something amazing, can you feel the thrill?
My fellow Guyanese, we are a proud nation built on unity in diversity. Our cultures, traditions, and faiths make us unique, but our love for Guyana binds us together. Elections are a time to choose leadership, not a time for hatred and division. Every Guyanese has a right to vote, to be heard, and to be respected.
We may not always agree, but we must always respect each other. Let us reject violence, rumors, and hate speech. Instead, let us embrace dialogue, understanding, and tolerance.
The future of our nation depends on the choices we make, not just through the ballot boxes, but in how we treat one another. Let's ensure that elections are peaceful, respectful, and harmonious. Together we are stronger, together we are Guyana.
Many voices, one heart. Many voices, one heart.
Guyana is our country, our motherland, beautiful and free.
Women of Guyana, we are the foundation of our families, the pillar of our communities, and the core of our nation.
The electoral season in our country is usually a tense period, but we have the influence to bring calm, to encourage dialogue, and to protect the peace in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and in our places of work.
Our children look up to us, learning from how we respond, how we speak, and how we interact. As Guyanese, we are blessed with an ethically diverse makeup.
As leaders, as caregivers, let us remind our families, our friends, and all those around us that hatred and violence have no place in our country.
Mothers, sisters, daughters, our strength is in our love, our wisdom, and our ability to nurture and encourage unity.
In this election, let us use our voices to heal,
to uplift,
to inspire,
and to foster peace and harmony in Guyana.
Country, let's work together for all to see. We can live in
Welcome back. You're watching the Guyana TV9 News Bulletin. GECOM Commissioner says GUNRAJ has dismissed concerns that police officers wearing body cameras at polling stations pose a threat to the secrecy of the ballot.
Earlier today, the APNU called on the Guyana Police Force to deactivate body cameras at polling places, claiming that several voters reported feeling uncomfortable and that their privacy was being invaded. The party urged that the camera should only be switched on in the event of incidents or unusual activities. Responding in his personal capacity, GUNRAJ explained that the use of body cameras is standard police protocol and does not interfere with the secrecy of the vote. He clarified that GECOM's restriction on cell phones and cameras applies only inside the voting compartment, a measure designed to safeguard ballot confidentiality.
The issue of the use of cameras in the polling station is a hotly debated topic. As you know, the prohibition is not for use of cell phones or cameras in the polling stations. In an effort to maintain the secrecy of the ballots, prohibition is against the use of cameras or cell phones in the voting compartment. So, in terms of the use of police and I think the issue is the body cameras. That is standard police protocol, and I don't believe it breaches the secrecy of the polling station. But of course, that is not a decision, or those are my personal views, and that's not a decision that I can make on my own.
GUNRAJ further noted that the voting process across the country had been running smoothly, with most polling stations opening on time and only very few hiccups. Encouraging citizens to turn out and vote, the commissioner reminded the public of the sacrifices made to secure this right. People have lost their lives to ensure we have a right to vote today. In that vein, my simple request would be for people to come out, exercise their civic duty, vote, and go back home. It's a public holiday. End of quote. GUNRAJ added that voter turnout varied across locations. While some stations were seeing steady participation, others, such as St. John's College, had noticeably few voters by mid-morning. There's literally no one waiting here to vote, he remarked, contrasting it with higher turnout observed elsewhere. Faith Sandy, Guyana TV9 News.
Speaking to the media after casting his ballot in Pleasance on the east coast of Demerara, PVPC Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Jagdeo reported that the voting process had been proceeding smoothly across the country. He firmly denounced what he described as fear-mongering tactics by the opposition and urged first-time voters to make informed choices that would positively impact their future.
Dr. Jagdeo, addressing media representatives, said despite some minor glitches during the opening of polls, which according to him have been rectified by GECOM, he is confident in his party's chances of victory during these elections.
We've put in the work. We have gone across the country. We've had a great feedback. So far, from what I see today, it's heading in one direction, which is a PVP victory. I've been assessing this since 4 in the morning. Or getting our agents out and everyone else. So it's largely because of what we mean to Guyana. And not because we're special, but because we have kept faith with the people of this country.
Dr. Jagdeo urged young first-time voters not to put their futures at risk.
Do not get carried away by, the short snippets on social media, because this is a social media generation, the new voters. And I urge them to think a little bit harder about their own futures and which political party offers the best choice for their prosperity at a personal level, whether it's education, healthcare, getting a job, owning a vehicle, owning a piece of land, and building a home. And I believe the PPP has outlined clearly a youth development plan that no other party can match in this country.
How have you seen young people supporting the party through the campaign trail?
Oh, this has been really, really phenomenal. If you go to our rallies, you see the energy at the rally. And a lot of that energy came from the youth, the young people associated with the party, young people of every race, every religion coming together. And it we did after the party's Congress, where we got together the largest youth movement in Guyana.
Jagdeo cautioned voters against falling for the opposition's current rhetoric of intimidation and fear. He reaffirmed that the joint services are fully prepared and equipped to respond to any political unrest.
Over the next few days, you will be subjected to these rumors. They're designed to do two things: to mislead voters and to also prepare themselves, an excuse for themselves when they face impending defeat. But if there is a clear case where there is evidence of someone buying votes, then this is illegal. GECOM should take immediate action and call in the police on this matter. It should be done immediately.
Voting across the East Coast Monday morning saw polling stations seeing slow but steady voting turnouts. Many voters speaking with Guyana TV9 said the voting process was simple and without hindrances, while others said there were some incidents that were quickly handled by GECOM officials. Over 700,000 Guyanese voters are expected to cast their ballots at the general and regional elections. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, now anticipates that the results of the September 1, 2025 general and regional elections will be available by the evening of September 3, with an official declaration likely the following morning. The Chief Elections Officer, Vishnu Prasad, made the announcement during a press briefing on Sunday, noting that the timeline depends on whether there are any major delays or requests for recounts. Colin Abrams, Guyana TV9 News.
And that wraps up the day's coverage from the polling stations. But before we go, I'm joined by our Editor-in-Chief, Melanie Alikpak, as we provide a full recap on how Elections Day 2025 unfolded and what's to come next.
I am Melanie Alikpak,
and we've been giving you coverage of Guyana Decides and Guyana Elections 2025. Today we've started at the opening of polls. We've seen a number of things happen all across the country. Yeah. We've been providing you coverage, and I hope you've been keeping track with us and staying tuned to Guyana TV9 here on Channel 9 and on Guyana TV9 on Facebook.
Indeed, it has been a pleasure today bringing you what has transpired throughout, indeed, as we have roamed around the East Coast, around the East Bank. We have seen Guyanese from all walks of life coming out to exercise their constitutional right and cast their ballots. We had the pleasure of meeting a number of first-time voters who are so excited that they're finally of age to be part of the process, Colwyn. We saw also a lot of persons who would have, for the very first time, even though they might have been adults, still come out to cast their votes. And by and large, most of what we've heard is that the day was a day that was very calm. There were a few hiccups, but according to GECOM, those issues were resolved. What were some of those minor things that we saw today, Colwyn?
Well, we saw, of course, you talked about the young voters. I like the seasoned voters, persons who've been voting for years. We saw young and seniors come out in their numbers. Persons in walkers, persons with disabilities came out and voted today in these elections. Some of the things we saw were persons saying that they were registered at one location,
and they voted at another location, but they got that sorted out quickly. GECOM got that sorted out. We had the leader of the opposition creating a storm at one polling station.
More than one polling stations, actually.
Yeah.
He felt that the way that the polling booth was positioned was unlawful, and he sought to say what he had to say. But according to GECOM, just to clear the air, GECOM made it clear that the polling day staff has the authority of the layout of the polling station, and that it is unlawful to disrupt the polls on polling day for any reason whatsoever. We also had the pleasure of talking with the vice presidential candidate and the presidential candidate of the TPPC today.
Of course, I met him down there at the school in Pleasance, there on the public road, and he spoke of how young people should not or should vote with their conscience and not jeopardize their future. Vice President Jagdeo also spoke of some of the political rhetoric being peddled by opposition parties. He said persons should not, well, voting is almost over, I should say. So persons who have voted should vote with their conscience and not be persuaded otherwise to derail their futures.
And that's something the Vice President has been saying even in his press conferences. He's been calling on people not to listen to the rhetoric and not to listen to what's being peddled by the opposition, but to look at the, on what's happening and vote based on what they've seen and what they've experienced for themselves, let it be development, or whatever.
We're going to continue with our wrap here on the day's events for the Guyana elections of 2025. Guyana decides. So we're going to continue now on what happens in the evening. The polls are going to be closing in just a few moments. We're going to be talking with our political expert, our elections expert right here. She's going to be telling us what happens after you hear, after technically 6 this evening. What happens? Can you tell us a bit through that process?
All right. So all of the polls constitutionally have to be closed at 6 p.m. And so it's just about now it should be closing. And just to remind you again, we had the eligible registered voters were 757,690 who would have gone out to vote today. We haven't yet heard officially about the voter turnout for today, but those are the eligible persons that were registered to vote. And they, of course, would have been registered to vote at 2,790 polling stations nationwide throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. And to help them, of course, we need polling day staff to ensure that the process runs smoothly. And so for that, we had 13,925 polling day staff throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. And ensuring that everything runs smoothly, we had 8,700 police ranks on duty. And of course, to ensure that the whole process, the electoral process, was free and fair, we had more than 700 accredited observers, 500 local and 200 international. But now we have come to the end of the first phase, Halloween, of this electoral process or polling day. The ballots have been cast. The polls would have been closed by now. We would have seen at many polling stations the presiding officer coming out and officially announcing the polls closed. She or he would then, at 6 o'clock, put something in the line to mark the last person that's in the line at 6 o'clock. Yes. And then they would attend to those persons that are in the line. And after that's done, that's it. After that, the counting process begins. That's the process that everybody wants to know about. Yes.
Of these elections.
And it's quite a complex exercise. I've worked at as presiding officer a few times myself. It includes going through all of the ballots. It includes tallying everything. It includes looking at spoiled ballots, a whole bunch of stuff. But of course, to watch over all of that, we have party agents within the various polling stations from the various political parties who are contesting the elections, and their role is to watch over and ensure that everything is okay. When that entire process is finished, there's a statement of poll, which is the declaration, so to speak, of the count at that official polling station or polling place. But before that, there are some polling stations today, Calvin, that would have gotten the joint services vote.
Which, of course, voted on the 22nd of August.
And they would have gotten the joint services ballots.
Over 10,000 ballots.
Yes. So those Right. So those ballots would have been distributed at random polling stations, and during the course of the day, the presiding officer would have opened up those envelopes, and he or she would have affixed the official stamp of that particular polling place to those ballots. So many persons would have wondered on joint service voting day why the ballots wasn't stamped. That's the reason, because the stamp of the official polling place where it's to be counted has to be affixed to those ballots. And then so after affixing it, the stamps, they would then place it in the ballot box, and those joint services ballots would be counted along with the rest that were cast today at the end of the poll. So once they're finished with the exercise of counting, an official statement of poll is then posted outside of the polling station, which is open to members of the public. You can go to the place where you voted today to see what the statement of poll looks like.
And what GECOM had been warning for the past few weeks is that persons shouldn't take those statements of polls and try to tally them themselves. GECOM is the only party or the only body responsible for declaring results, and no person should go and try to tabulate those results rather by themselves. GECOM is the only body that can do that.
Well, if they do that, they might be doing themselves a disservice, because the statement of polls alone, especially if you just look at them sporadically, cannot give a true picture of what the real results are. And so that official result will come from GECOM. But following the posting of those statements of polls, the returning officers will then do their due diligence, take the ballot boxes and so on to GECOM, and then GECOM starts its official work of scanning those statements of polls and posting them up and so on. And this CEO of GECOM has said that by the 3rd of September 3rd, we can results with a declaration, hopefully by the 4th. Of course, those things are dependent on a lot of other factors. If there are calls for recounts and all of that.
But if we've had any recollection of what happened last election, it could be a process that goes on. Hopefully this election process is smooth one after we've been talking to persons all day. And the process has been smooth, so hopefully this one runs smooth.
I believe it will be smooth. But that's where we're at. Guyana have decided, Guyana has cast their vote, and they have done their due diligence. You have done your part, and now it's up to GECOM and the others to do their part. But indeed, it was an interesting day. We are happy to report that we did not have any major disturbances. There were a few minor things reported, but those were all resolved during the course of the day. And by and large, we would say that Elections Day 2025 was a day without any major disruption, as was expected. The process went free and clear and smooth. And of course, Guyana TV9 was happy to be part of the process and to bring you updates. As updates become available during the night.
I must say our team did well. Our teams did really well throughout the day. Our team did really well. I was going to call their names, but we're going to do that later.
And as updates continue during the night, stay tuned as the results coming and so on from GECOM, as it starts to come, we want to keep you updated. So if you were a part of our live today, thank you for tuning in. It was a pleasure being with you, and on behalf of the Guyana TV9 team, good night.
And that's all for tonight's news bulletin. I'm Colin Neighbors. Thanks for watching.